The launch of a new aircraft is much more complicated than just building and marketing it. Manufacturers want to ensure that specifications will match airline demand for some time to come, and development requires significant financing and taking on the risks of testing and certification. This video looks at the main steps involved in launching a new aircraft type, using the Boeing 787 as an example. Naturally, any new aircraft development starts with a recognized need. This could be an evolution of a previously successful aircraft type with technology or efficiency upgrades, such as continued 737 models or the upgrade from the A320ceo to A320neo. Or it might be a new launch to compete with another manufacturer or move into a new market. Airbus, for example, launched the A340 as a quadjet to compete with the Boeing 747, then took this further with the A380, betting on a new market for even larger aircraft to serve a hub-and-spoke-based operating model. Whatever need the aircraft fills, input from airlines is always crucial. Boeing's early jets are great examples of airline collaboration. Pan American World Airways, or Pan Am, was the first customer to order the 707, although it also ordered the rival DC-8, and worked with Boeing on design and later promotion. The 747 came about with a request from Pan Am for a larger aircraft, supported by an initial order worth $500 million in 1966. In an interview with Air and Space magazine, Boeing designer Joe Sutter said, "If it weren't for the foresight and input of Pan Am, the 747 would never have launched." These days, such strong collaboration is not common, but there is always close cooperation. In the case of the 787, an order for 50 aircraft from All Nippon Airways, or ANA, came in 2004, soon after the launch of the program, for 30 787-3 and 20 787-8 aircraft. It went on to be the launch customer, but not until October 2011. New manufacturers today provide a different example of this. Chinese manufacturer Comac has strong connections with Chinese airlines, and its new aircraft have been very much targeted at their needs. Obviously, much of the design work for a new aircraft takes place long before the full-scale construction of any prototype or test aircraft begins. This has changed over the years, along with advances and technology. Paper designs, models, and wind tunnel testing were more common in the early days of aircraft design. Now the design is more likely to be supplemented with computer-based design for longer. For the 787, the focus was on new efficiency improvements. A new lightweight composite fuselage had to be developed, and there were several new aerodynamic improvements, including raked wingtips. Engines, of course, are a major consideration. Should existing engines be used, or is work with an engine partner needed to develop a new engine? The 787 is designed to take either the General Electric GE-NX or the Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 engine. Having a great design and potential customers is one thing, but development is hugely expensive, and manufacturers need to be confident in financing it and making a future return on this investment. For the 787, for example, the total development cost was estimated at over $32 billion, as reported by the Seattle Times. Whether it ever sells enough aircraft to break even on this remains to be seen. A large part of such financing, of course, comes from manufacturers' own pockets. This is a main reason we've seen so much consolidation in the industry over the years, leading to the Boeing and Airbus duopoly today. Advance payments from customers are possible too. Going back to the 747 development, early commitment and funding from Pan Am was an essential part of launching the program. All new aircraft types need to be certified by the appropriate regulatory authorities, leading to a type certificate. This covers the overall aircraft type. Each aircraft built then requires its own certificate of airworthiness. There are several global regulatory authorities. An aircraft will usually take multiple certifications, and at least in the state of design of the aircraft. The main ones include FAA, or Federal Aviation Administration, EASA, or European Aviation Safety Agency, and CAAC, or Civil Aviation Authority of China. The lengthy and expensive certification process involves constructing several prototype aircraft for tests on the ground and in the air. In the case of the 787, flight testing used 6 aircraft, 4 with Rolls-Royce engines and 2 with General Electric engines. Testing took 20 months, much longer than the originally planned 8 months. Unsurprisingly, testing and certification is one area that often delays aircraft launch. The 787 was not safe from this, with testing taking much longer than anticipated, due firstly to engine issues and aircraft deliveries delayed as a result. The new 777X is currently facing similar delays. Issues with new engines first delayed the launch beyond the planned 2021 schedule, and further delays have pushed this until late 2023 at the earliest. An important part of generating new aircraft sales is to show it to potential customers, often via air shows or aircraft tours. The 787 was demonstrated at the Aircraft Interiors Expo Asia Hong Kong in 2006. The 787 made its first public appearance in July 2010 at the Farnborough Air Show in the UK. Farnborough is one of the leading air shows. Paris and Dubai are other main events. The 787 also embarked on one of the more ambitious global tours. Starting in December 2011, Boeing began a 6-month Dream Tour, including visits across Europe, Africa, China, Thailand, the Middle East, and the United States. Aircraft were retrofitted to fully show the possibilities they offer. Scott Fancher, Vice President and General Manager of the 787 program, said of its 4 aircraft, "Our flight test airplane has turned into a showpiece. Anyone who has seen the inside of a flight test airplane will be amazed at the transformation. All of the 787 passenger features are here." Once tested and certified, the challenge moves to growing orders. Of course, orders will hopefully be received long before this, but more will follow once the aircraft is proven. Manufacturers list aircraft with specific prices, much like any company product. The 787, for example, lists as 787-8, $248.3 million, 787-9, $292.5 million, 787-10, $338.4 million. Airlines will spend more equipping aircraft. They are free to choose separate suppliers for the interiors and seating, and this of course is a major way the aircraft is marketed to passengers. Many passengers will be more interested in a new seating layout than technical improvements in the aircraft. In terms of business and aircraft success, production is a vital part. Choosing how and where the aircraft will be built is important. Manufacturers need to ensure sufficient capacity, but not at the cost of too much initial expenditure or impacting other production lines. And there needs to be flexibility for increased or weakened demand. The 787 was originally assembled only at Boeing's Everett site, along with the 747, 767 and 777. Boeing added a second assembly site in North Charleston, South Carolina in 2011 to handle the increasing production rate. In fact, the 787-10 ended up being only built in Charleston, as the larger fuselage sections that are produced there could not be shipped using the Dreamlifter. And recently, Boeing has announced that all 787 production will shift to Charleston in mid-2021. With the slowdown seen from 2020, the production rate will be lowered from 12 to 6 aircraft per month. The 787 was a clean sheet design focused on lower weight and increased efficiency. The 737, of course, first flew in 1967 and remains in production now with constantly evolving generations. The 747 managed over 50 years in production through its variants, but the last aircraft have been ordered. Some of these variants may be less successful, but this can be handled as the cost of development is much lower. The A330 and A340 are other good examples of this. Airbus developed these 2- and 4-engine wide-bodies together, saving cost and development time. Fewer A340s were sold, but it was far from a failure with the shared cost of development. The close relationship with the regulator continues throughout the operational life of the type. Regulators will monitor operations and issues and issue additional airworthiness directives for any issues that may arise. The ongoing issues with the Boeing 737 MAX are just one example of this. And for a new variant, type certificates can also be amended. This will often involve a further prototype model for testing, but is much less expensive than for a new aircraft type. There is obviously a huge amount involved in developing a new aircraft and the business processes that go along with this. Hopefully, this has been an interesting overview of the main areas, with some ideas for exploring further. Feel free to discuss more areas in the comments. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles and a podcast every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.